case number 22MAY2018, name Space Hulk Deathwing Enhanced Edition. First-person shooter based on Games Workshop's cult classic board game set in Warhammer 40,000 universe, expanding upon the original game and featuring a host of new content, new features and a richer multiplayer mode. Such is the pledge of the developers. In the Emperor's name, may their judgment be swift and fair. Dear Battle Brothers and Sisters, let's start with the story, which is usually the backbone of any good single-player game, except this one. It's your typical generic 40k story of no significance to the universe, which on the other hand we can't really hold against the devs, because when you get a license from GW to do a Warhammer game, that doesn't really mean that you can actually make changes in the universe. So this is pretty much standard run-of-the-mill story. Basically the premise is very easy. Space Hulk Oletros manifested into real space. You are a librarian of the Deathwing squad and you are sent in to investigate. Then you find something and you try to retrieve it. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but if you insert a generic 40k ending of your own, you pretty much got the picture. Now the only problem is Gavin Thorpe was co-writing this story, for better or worse, and while I have no idea how much he was involved in this process, it feels like they only put his name there so they can charge more for the whole game. It doesn't really feel like there is much writing involved. I can't really say that this story is good, and I'm quite sure there were some places where they could actually go to town with it and have fun and make really good and interesting story with some little twists, but they didn't. What a shame. Now the graphics, that's where this game really shines. See what I did there, heretics? Seriously, this game is beautiful. It looks fantastic, it's true to the 40k lore, both in interiors, weapons, enemies, like you name it. Like whatever is in this game, it looks awesome. And really, I would like to commend the art and graphic designer team of Streum on, because they really did an outstanding job. It's one of the few things that they can be proud of in this game. They need to find better studio to work for, seriously, somebody who can actually appreciate them, because what they did was beautiful. Now when it comes to graphical settings, there is not much since it's a console port, but there is one really hilarious thing. Actually in the control settings, there is a picture of an Xbox controller, while this game is only for PC and PlayStation. Like what the what the actual Seriously guys, you are releasing a game on one console and you can't even put the right controller's picture in there. Like congratulations, much wow, such skill, great. Ah, God Emperor help us. Now when it comes to music, it's not bad. Officially there is about 23 musical scores, although only 4 of them sounds like actual music, but mostly just ambient tracks which are making the atmosphere way better. But since you need to listen to where the enemy is coming from, you don't really want to listen to that music, you don't really want to have it on like too loud, so you usually turn it down. And seriously, after over 90 hours of playing, I won't be able to tell you if you play me a sample if it's from Deathwing or not. Sounds for the most part are good, everything sounds legit, although MK2 Bolter sounds like a pea shooter, but still I kinda like the sound, so I'm using it despite it being shite. Flamer sounds really good, Assault Cannon energy weapons sounds really satisfying, the sound is really meaty and beautiful, you really feel like you are a Space Marine firing those weapons, so that's really good. Now voice acting is very scarce. There are only like 5 people voicing the game. Of course, you are only going to be able to recognize the chapter master, everybody else sounds basically like the same. But overall, for that little voice acting that there is, it's really good, which is rare for Warhammer games. So I can't really be that harsh, because I have played games with way worse voice acting. So this one I have to give a thumbs up to whoever was doing the voice acting. Those guys actually sounds like voice actors, not random people. So I'm really happy about that. And how is the overall atmosphere? It's glorious! You really feel like you are walking in a several tons weighing armor. Enemies can come at you from any vent or slide down a pillar or come from any dark hole that there is. The darkness can be very scary, although here you have to decide for yourself. Do you want a scary atmosphere, or do you actually want to be true to the lore, where Space Marines, they can see in the dark pretty well, so even if you turn the gamma all the way up, you are basically not cheating, you are just making it more lore friendly. So this is completely up to you guys. If you want, you can set the atmosphere for a really scary horror shooter, or if you want to be true to the lore, you can just, see everything and basically just have a good shooter. Atmosphere is completely up to you, which one would you like, but I must say that graphics and sound works together really well. Atmosphere is there, it's awesome, and can be even spoopy at times. Sadly, it is the gameplay, the main thing of this game, where we can see that Streum On are either incapable of making a good game, or they were cutting corners way too much. So let's start with the good things. You play through the mission with set tasks and you kill anything that moves and it's not a Space Marine. It's awesome. Basically, it's your Left 4 Dead set in 40k universe. You really can't ask for more. The premise is beautiful and it feels great. Levels are massive, and we are talking 90s shooter style massive. And the good thing about multiplayer is that the computer blocks random paths, so you can't even speedrun the mission because you never know what kind of tasks you are going to be doing and in what order, and also you never know which doors are going to be open and which holes are going to be blocked. So that gives really good variety and replayability. But unfortunately, the single player campaign is fucking unplayable. Seriously, anything above easy is used as a torture technique for heretics that refuses to talk even after the mind lashes, and even if you decide to play on easy, it's a real patient test, and I would recommend to buy like £5 worth of mouse and keyboard and play with that, because at some point you are bound to smash it and break it down out of frustration. Now, the good thing is that single player is only good if you want to 100% Steam achievements, but seriously, it is the AI that makes it unplayable, and I will talk about it later in the mechanics section. Don't bother. If you are buying this game, it's not for the single player. Which is sad, because in single player is most of the story. I mean, it's the whole story and the voice acting and everything. But not all is lost, because we have multiplayer. And multiplayer in Space Hulk Deathwing Enhanced Edition is the way. Luckily for all of you who actually would like to experience the single player campaign, you can just select the chapters from the list and play them one by one. And the best thing is that even the shittiest human player is going to be 40,000 times better than the AI. See what I did there again? Come on, give me a like, come on, this deserves a like. And if you don't care about the single player, that's fine, you can play random missions where you will get a random amount of tasks to finish. Obviously, the more tasks you get, the more EXP you are going to get, the higher chance you have to level up your character, to get more loot boxes, to actually be able to buy new skills and such. Unfortunately, the problem is that mission generation is so random that what can really happen is your very first mission will be also your last, because it can give you one of those missions where you are just supposed to go to the extraction point and extract from the Space Hulk. Sometimes you will get 1, 2 or 3 missions before everything finishes, and sometimes you can get 6 or 7. One last thing, there is a progression system. So basically you have your 6 Space Marines, and each of them needs to be unlocked separately. And by that I mean you have to unlock their perks, their armor bonuses and their weapons separately, which sounds like a shitty mechanics at first, but it is necessary, because if it was all unlocked, or if you, let's say, unlock the bolter once and it unlocks for everybody else who can actually use that weapon, in that case you will be done with the multiplayer progress within next 90 hours, and then there will be no reason to play it again. I'm actually going to say that it's not as bad, and it works okay with the system that has been set up by the developers. Controls, I had no problems. You can rebind the keys as you want, so that's really nice. Controls felt responsive, and I personally, as I said, had no issue with them. Although, as one of my friends told me, if you are trying to play it on PC using PS controller, you can have a problem with your gyro, and it's a pain in the ass to actually fix it. Now, on the other hand, why the f would you play an FPS with a fucking controller? What kind of heresy is this? What the, wait, what the fuck? The main issue of this game is it crashes a lot. And I mean a lot. It crashes in single player, it crashes in multiplayer, it crashes all the fucking time. And since the developers abandoned this project and there is no modding possibility, it's staying this way. So basically every time you play, any minute you play, there is a high chance that the game will just drop, freeze. Sometimes it doesn't even let you get to the task manager, and basically you are using all the progress. I have already mentioned the true abominable intelligence. Those guys can't do shit. If you are trying to play multiplayer for whatever sadomasochistic reason, you have to spam the follow button and heal on yourself. Try it, seriously try it, and you will never ever again complain about stupid AI in games, ever. And don't get me started with bugs. And I don't mean just the Tyranids. There is so many bugs in this game that even Todd Howard would be like, that's a lot of bugs in a video game. Speaking of RNG, the loot boxes, aka the renown chests, they can give you a duplicate of what you already have, and the problem is, it gets recycled for 100 renown points. Now everything in this game costs at least 3,500 points, so this is absolutely like, who actually had a look at this and said, yeah, that's enough. Skins, they are mostly just lazy recolors. Seriously, nobody gave a fuck about the skins and making something out of it. And the game balance? I guess Streumon never heard about that thing. There is a power sword that you can enhance with 300% damage and 80% armor reduction. Who looked at that and said, yeah, that's fine, that's balanced? Feels like they invited all the people that were on the balance team in Riot Games in Season 5 and asked them to have a look. Another great thing is this game has a Twitch vote mode. It's good for streamers because you can just have more fun with your viewers. Unfortunately, there are so many votes that are pointless and are not really doing any good or any bad to the gameplay because they are useless. And also, before each Twitch vote spawns, there is a pretty good chance that the game will crash, which renders Twitch vote mode unplayable. And my biggest gripe, devs never released modding tools, so nobody can actually get into the game, fix it and make it good. And now the game is completely abandoned for another 40k project, and that makes me a very sad Inquisitor. Now at the time of making this video, they sneaked out a Knights of the Crimson Order DLC, which is free, and it's about 5 gigabytes. People are thinking that maybe they patched and fixed something, but when I played, I couldn't actually see any fucking difference. And most importantly, one skin for one class and one weapon skin for that class in exchange for 5 gigabytes on your hard drive? Not that spicy in my books. Dear Battle brothers and sisters, after careful review of this case and over 90 hours of gameplay, I proclaim this game as approved, but with huge inquisitorial warning seal. Streumon had an uncut gem on their hands that could make them money, and thousands of 40k fans really happy. But being lazy they are, they just half-assed this project and yet had the balls to sell it for a full price. They recently dropped the £40 price tag down to 27, but still, it is not worth the money. I recommend this game only if you are a huge 40k fan and only if you can get this game for a tenner. Game is on sale every 2 to 3 months, so for 10 euros or less it is worth, but if you are not that fast about 40k, go play Vermintide. It's way better and much more polished game, and the developers actually give a fuck about their game and are trying their best. Also, beware of Streumon and their projects in the future. At the time of making this video, they are already working on another 40k game, so please rest assured that the Gaming Inquisition is keeping an eye on these developers, and you can expect a video in the future contemplating missing opportunities with Deathwing, and as soon as they release their yet unannounced project, I will be on it like a hawk, and I will let you know whether they actually learned from their past mistakes or not. You can display your agreement or disagreement with my ruling by giving this video thumbs up or down and adding your own comment below. I will read them all, promise. For more rulings and to pledge your service to the God Emperor himself, click the subscribe button now, and never mind the commissar standing behind you with his bolt pistol ready to shoot if you don't. I will see you at the next ruling, and don't forget that the Emperor protects!